All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025, and in Canada, they're having their election for the Prime Minister. Of course, Trudeau recently stepped down, and Mark Carney took over in his place as the interim Prime Minister. Now, today, they have the election where Carney is challenged as the Liberal Party leader. He's challenged by the opposition conservative Pierre, and I still don't have his last name down. We'll just call him Pierre P. But of course, they're saying this election is about Trump. Trump's tariffs were the final straw for Trudeau. It caused pressure to be put on him, which caused him to say that he'd be stepping down, which caused Mark Carney to step up in his place. And right now, the chatter about this is that Mark Carney's talking tough about getting back against the U.S. over Trump's tariffs, whereas Pierre, who's been campaigning for this spot, has not changed his rhetoric at all and is staying to the same message, not even discussing the tariffs, which are the big thing impacting Canada. A lot of people find that to be troubling. Why is he not addressing the issue of the day? Of course, he's sticking to the issue of the last decade, which has been the policies of the Liberal Party in Canada, which has been very troubling for Canadian people. And again, as somebody who lives in Washington State, who's been to the beautiful city of Vancouver, BC, a number of times, I know that just like the U.S., Canada is a declining nation. We're both declining together. And the point of this stream is going to be how it's very clear that we're both controlled by the same forces. There's all this chatter about Canada becoming the 51st state. For all you guys who love hockey up there in Canada, did you see the Four Nations face-off this year with the NHL? Did you happen to catch how Canada defeated U.S. in the championship on the 51st day of the year? Talk about symbolic. Again, the same Freemasons that run your government, they're the same ones that run your sports leagues. But, and we'll get to that in a big way here. But just about to talk about the decline of Canada, along with the U.S., is I remember when I was a younger person, and it was the early 2000s, and I was considering becoming a Canadian citizen. They had a point system. If you could do this, this, and this, you could apply for citizenship in Canada. And the reason I felt like doing it is because, I've been disgusted to be an American, and I think anyone who's awake is rightfully disgusted by this nation. It's pathetic. People worship ignorance. They vote for these horrible politicians that they're so proud of. The lesser of two evils, they get more evil with each passing year. Again, just a gluttonous population with seemingly no respect for other people of the world, fall for lies like when towers come crumbling down and they blame it on brown men in caves. Just, again, in the early 2000s, the other reason I was thinking about moving up to Canada is because I'd been up to Canada, plenty. A fun thing to do when we were younger is go up to Canada because the drinking age was legal. And I learned from going up and partying in Canada multiple times that, their people seem to be a lot cooler once upon a time. Just a lot more social. The Canadian women in Vancouver, BC, man. I just thought they don't make them like this in the U.S. But you know what? I haven't been up to Vancouver for a minute. The last time I was up in Vancouver was probably about a decade ago. And I just the whole population had changed. It didn't even look like Canada anymore. Things had gotten incredibly expensive. I was like, God, what was the nickname for BC at the time? God, they had a nickname for it because of how expensive it was. I forget what the tax rate it was. It was over 20%. It's like, God, over 20% tax rate? I mean, you buy a piece of food for $10, you're paying an extra $2.10 in taxes. I was like, this is getting ridiculous. I was like, I'm glad I didn't move to Canada. U.S. is bad, but this is getting even worse. Anyway, what this stream is really about is the reason we're seeing our societies decline is because of the forces that really control them, the ones that are trying to divide us, funneling in people from all over the world to create these divisions, to create these unnecessary tensions. Again, don't get me wrong. I love all the people of the world, but it's just like the other big story in Canada right now is what happened at the Filipino parade in BC. We're going to get to the familiar pattern with that as well. It's all connected. But, again, there are forces controlling this world, and they want us divided. They want us pointing fingers. And all the meanwhile, people aren't seeing the real enemy. It is the cabal, which is a real thing that operates by a code and operates through the shadows and controls these puppet politicians on all sides of the aisle. And again, case in point, look how perfect this ritual is in Canada. It's no different than what they do in the US. This is going to be the 45th election in Canada, the 45th. And how old is the challenger? He's 45 years old. He'll turn 46 on June 3rd, but he's 45 right now. Remember, this election has a lot to do with Trump, who was once number 45, who's now number 47. And of course, he has those Trump hats with a 45 and a 47 on the side. So this 45th election also comes 45 days after Mark Carney became the prime minister on Pi Day, March 14th. Today, 45 days later, 17 more days in March, 28th of April, 17 plus 28, 45. So the 45th election is between 45-year-old Pierre and Mark Carney, who became the PM 45 days ago. And again, it's over Trump. And again, here it is right here. Mark Carney became the 24th prime minister on March 14th, 45 days ago. This is going to be the 45th election. And notice, Pierre, he's got a June 3rd birthday. June 3rd. From June 3rd to April 28th, the election is exactly 47 weeks. Exactly 47. And go figure that today's also 47 days before Trump's birthday. And honestly, I don't know who's going to win this election. I don't know, because I'm not enough into Canadian politics. I know that the sentiment in Canada was they were sick of the Liberal Party and Trudeau and his policies and what it had done to the nation and how expensive it had made cost of living and how they went along with the scandemic policies. But see, the way they make it now a narrative, even though there was all this outrage for the party, is now they have it so the Conservative Party's not addressing the tariffs and they're stuck on the old issues that are no longer the most pressing issue, the tariffs. Mark Carney's talking tough on the tariffs, but the conservative guy is not saying anything about it. So this is how they create and again, I mean, just like, in what world would you not be addressing that? It's just like in the US. They have to create these impossible scenarios to make people choose between two things that they probably don't want to choose between. There's probably people in Canada right now who don't realize that the whole election's a sham by the numbers, just like what goes on in the US. And they're like, God, I'm sick of the Liberal Party, but man, it's only the Liberal leader who's saying he's going to do anything about the tariffs right now. What do I do? Understand, you don't do anything. You don't vote in these rigged selections, because that's what they are, and all these people are puppets. And who runs the show at the end of the day? The same people who gave you the calendar and the language, and that's the Jesuits. Just like Trudeau was Jesuit educated like his father. Remember, his father was the 15th prime minister. Trudeau became PM in 2015, and then the news broke on January 5th, 15, that he was going to resign. And he gave a speech the next day. But anyway, in light of this going down in 2025, if the conservative does win, and right now from what I've seen in the media is they're saying he's not supposed to win. But if he does win, he's going to become the 25th prime minister. And it is interesting how Trump is 25, and it is 2025, and in that same cipher, felon equals 25. And if you're new here and wondering how Trump equals 25 and 47, again, it's all elementary. There's 4 base ciphers of the English language. The most simple is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. The alphabetic order, letters into numbers. There's a reason for an alphabetic order. It's because of this old world practice of coding numbers into words. The alphabetic order with numerology. A is 1 up to Z is 26 with numerology applied to each letter. That's where Trump is 25. T is the 20th letter. The numerology at 20 is 2 plus 0 is 2. R is the 18th letter, 1 plus 8 is 9. U is the 21st letter, 2 plus 1 is 3. Trump equals 25. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Z is 1 back to A is 26. That's where Trump equals 47. When you run it in reverse with numerology, that's the other cipher. In that cipher, Trump equals 29. If he goes his full 4 years of this term, he'll exit office in 2029 after he comes in 25. And it's also not up there with the alphabetic order. Trump equals 88. He's gone through 1,088 rituals, including the Mar-a-Lago raid on 88. The Pope just died at 88 on Trump's 312th day of his age after he supposedly got 312 electoral college votes. And again, Jorge Mario Bergoglio's 312. Anyway, we've been talking about Trump and the Pope being connected since 2015 when he announced he was running. First Jesuit Pope. Trump's Jesuit educated. Trudeau's Jesuit educated. Mark Carney's Jesuit educated. You know who's not Jesuit educated is Pierre, unless he went to a Jesuit prep school. I didn't look into his prep school years. Could have gone to a Jesuit prep school, but his college is not Jesuit. The point is, though, the whole election's about Trump, and it just couldn't be any more Trump. 45-47. Again, who studies 47? The Masons. They study the 47th problem of Euclid. For everybody who doesn't know, everything Trump's doing with tariffs is a 47 ritual, nonstop. He implemented his first tariffs in this term exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing date of Wealth of Nations, the book by Adam Smith, the father of economics, who said tariffs should pretty much not be used because they're destructive. They can lead to wars. They can turn friends into enemies. Isn't that what's going on with Canada and the U.S. right now? In terms of nations, they were seen as friends and allies, and now that it's kind of like an adversary. It's kind of like a threatening thing. Here, we're bullying you. We're the bigger nation just south. We're going to bully you. We might annex you. We're going to threaten you with being annexed. We're going to disrespect you. Just out of nowhere, too, right? But all this does in 47. When Trump implemented those tariffs, it was also 47 months after he implemented his first tariffs his first time in office. Again, and for the record, you run it the other way, tariffs equals 34. You might recall first he implemented 34% additional tariffs on China, and then they implemented 34% additional tariffs on the U.S., and then that caused the market to collapse on the third day of the fourth month. Major market downturn worldwide. Again, all this stuff is ritual because the cabal. Again, cabal comes from Kabbalah. This whole thing of letters and numbers comes from Kabbalah. The practice of coding numbers into words is gematria from Kabbalah. It's talked about in the opening paragraph of the Book of Formation. But yeah, Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. There's been a gazillion rituals with Trump in 47 already in the few months that he's been back in office. Again, even the Mangione assassination of the United Healthcare CEO at the same hotel that Trump was at for the 2016 election, the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel, that was 47 weeks, or not weeks, but days before Inauguration Day. Again, all of this stuff is all part of one connected scenario. And remember, the assassination of the healthcare CEO was about people just being outraged over expensive healthcare in the U.S., where it's just insane. You know, people, when they travel to the U.S., it's common in these other countries for them to buy a temporary insurance policy while in the U.S. in case something happens to them here because they don't want to lose everything that they've worked for their entire life. What happens to U.S. citizens all the time because of the crazy healthcare system. My mom, you know, she hates going to the doctor. She hardly ever goes. Like I said, she recently got the flu for the first time in 50 years, and they had her take antibiotics, and since she had the antibiotics, she's had this rare side effect where she can't sleep. She's never had a sleep problem in her life. It's a rare side effect to antibiotics that it can cause insomnia. It happened to her, so she's been getting horrible sleep now for the last month. She decided to go back into the doctor. She said she didn't get to see a doctor. She got to see a physician's assistant. They saw her for a few minutes, and he just said, "Oh, you know, maybe try just having no sugar in your diet and see what happens." And my mom already really doesn't get much sugar in her diet. She's pretty healthy. But then she gets the bill, and she sees that the bill for the 3-minute visit from the PA was $600. It's like, for 3-minute advice of try eating less sugar in your diet, they just bill you $600. I mean, this is stupid. How do we get to this place? We know this is what it is. Sweet lady, when she just delivered her baby, we ended up paying, I forget what our total bill was. It was a lot. It was, go back and check. It was over $6,000 that we had to pay, even having insurance, which is super expensive. I pay $1,000 a month for myself and little girl for insurance per month. A lot of people are in the same boat. It's just, these things are crazy, but then you still got to pay a ton. Anyway, the total billing, though, for the birth was over $100,000. Like, over $100,000 to deliver a baby? I mean, it's insane. But anyway, we live in this world where the policies from the top create these crazy situations that make everything super expensive, that squeezes everyone's life. The tariffs are, you know, it's like they're trying to burst the camel's back. Like, how many more straws can we stack on the camel before they all burst? Anyway, you look at all this ritualism too, just everything, the nonstop propaganda and mind control, it's got the same numbers over it. In my background, I have that, you know, the license plate right back there that says, what is 47? What is 47? Always been talking about this number with high ritual. But yeah, here's just another classic. Between the Masonic-controlled Canada and U.S., a 47 special that brings it all together. Trump's supposedly a conservative. And again, these political titles don't mean anything. I don't know if it's as bad in Canada, but over here, conservatives are supposed to be like financially responsible. Every time one gets in office, the budget grows astronomically, new records by leaps and bounds. Like, there's nothing conservative about this. You look at a guy like Donald Trump, lifelong Democrat who becomes Republican as Obama's in office. And don't forget that Obama did tell you that Trump would become the 45th president on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan, April 30th, 2011, when the highest degree of the Church of Satan is mega, more ritualism. But yeah, just to read this reporting from Politico, Canada versus Trump, how Monday's election will play out. Yeah, it really is. In March, shortly after Ontario Premier Doug Ford decisively won re-election here, Canada Conservative Party leader Pierre P. grudgingly telephoned the leader of this country's most populous province to grudgingly ask for advice from a conservative rival. People said, you got to call him, Ford happily recalled to me this week. He said, what advice can I get? I said, it's one thing. Our polling shows it. We just came off a big victory. It's the tariffs. A number of years ago, Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. That's James Carville, who was the advisor to Clinton at the time. Well, it's the tariffs, stupid. That's what it is. So why didn't Pierre P. adjust his message? I can't figure it out, Ford said, happy to plunge the knife in days before Canadians vote on a new government. For months now, the dynamics of Monday's federal election here seemed easy enough to grasp on either side of the border. A campaign that had been a referendum on former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's increasingly unpopular decade-long tenure had once Trudeau stepped down become a vote on who was best able to manage Donald Trump, his tariff arsenal, and designs on annexing Canada. But it isn't that simple. Liberals are poised to hold power, and Prime Minister Mark Carney may even claim a majority of Canada's 343 House of Commons seats, because Pierre P. never pivoted to accommodate a changed race and alienate crucial leaders and voters. Because liberals didn't just dump Trudeau, they replaced him with a sober central banker. Don't you gotta love it? A World Economic Forum banker. And the WEF is run by a Jesuit. Well, he just stepped down. Klaus Schwab. Again, Klaus Schwab's full name equals 111. Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 111. The first Jesuit pope dies on the 111th day of the year. And one of his main men at the World Economic Forum resigns on the same day in a 111 special. Learn your gematria. An Alan Greenspan from the Northwest Territories who can still lace up the skates. And because that's got to play, right, in Canada. And because Canada has momentarily imported two-party tribal politics from America into their multi-year parliamentary democracy. Doesn't look like you guys got a democracy in the same way we don't either. It's like you got a Masonic shit show. With regards to Carney, today's 43 days after his birthday. Masonic is 43. Election is 43. And that means it's 322 days to his upcoming birthday. Remember, the physical motto for Kabbalah is the Tree of Life with 3 pillars and 22 paths. Genesis 3:22 mentions the Tree of Life. Special number to a lot of secret societies. The founder of the Illuminati, the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, died on the 322nd day of the year. By the way, we're right before the Illuminati's birthday, May 1st. But yeah, remember, liberal equals 59, and he became the prime minister 2 days before his birthday. He was still 59, liberal 59. But now he's turned 60, like Donald Trump equals 60. He's taken on Trump at age 60 after Trump won the 60th election after his ex-wife died exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. She fell down the stairs on the same day Trump said he'd run in the election. I also noticed that from our election to today's election is a span of 185 days. And Donald John Trump, his full name's 185, like mathematics. Again, the U.S. might not have annexed Canada, but the reality is, again, the same secret society that runs the U.S. clearly runs Canada. And I've been making this point for a long time. Just look at what they did to you guys on April 19th with the major Jesuit ritual on Route 102 on Ignatius Loyola Day, having the guy in the Mountie car in uniform drive all over the place and shoot people so that gun rights could be stripped. Same exact stuff, same exact rituals, same exact dates going on in the U.S. Just to go back and revisit Mark Carney being sworn in on Pi Day as number 24. It was 79 days after Trudeau's birthday. Society of Jesus equals 79. Pierre's born in 79, the opposition to Carney. Again, Trudeau, his father, and Carney, all Jesuit educated. Jesuits are the Society of Jesus. And it's interesting how Canada equals 24. Mark Carney equals 62. It was a 62 date numerology that he became the interim PM. March 9th was the day that it was announced he would replace, and then he was sworn in March 14th. Again, notice how Canada has the 15 connection. Again, his father of Trudeau was the 15th prime minister. Trudeau became prime minister in 2015. In reverse, Canada's 39, like how it was announced that Carney would replace Trudeau on March 9th, 3-9. It can also be like 9-3, which is a big number with the Stanley Cup, and Canada hasn't won it since 93. That's a whole nother topic. It's been 32 years. America equals 32. Does America's reign continue for one more year, or is this the year it ends? So from the day it was announced that Carney would take over, before he was officially sworn in, it was 74 days later. Mark Joseph Carney, his full name, 74. Again, Masonic, Occult, English, Gematria, Jesus Cross, Messiah, Gospel Parables. Again, the Society of Jesus runs the show. The Rites of Modern Freemasonry, many of them written by Jesuit priests. If you're new here, we talk about these numbers all the time. There's a reason in the U.S., this English-speaking Masonic nation, the birthday is 7-4, not to mention holiday and Independence Day equals 74. Mark Carney, St. Peter's College in 93, and also St. Francis Xavier High School, Jesuit educated, just like Trudeau and his father. Again, 59 when he took over. Keep in mind, Pope Francis, Mr. 59. Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year. He was still breathing at the time of this ritual. At least so they say. At least so they say. Not convinced that wasn't Jonathan Price playing the part again there until they had the perfect ritual on Easter Monday. But yeah, Mark Carney, part of the World Economic Forum. Same people dictating world policy all over. The ones who simulated the scandemic that created a lot of outrage with the liberals in Canada. And now supposedly he's the sensible one. Let me go back through some of these other ones. When Trudeau announced his resignation, this was a day after the news had broke. The news broke the night of January 5th. I remember it like it was yesterday. It said CNN is emphasizing that he was the Liberal Party leader for 11 years and prime minister for 9 years. 11 and 9, right? Again, Vatican equals 119. Special number pairing there, 11 and 9. And he resigned exactly 9 weeks after the 9th anniversary of becoming the prime minister, which again, he held for 9 years. That's a lot of nines. And again, the night before, Sunday, that's when it broke that he was going to resign on January 5th. Here's that coverage right here. Sunday, January 5th, Canadian PM Justin Trudeau to announce resignation as early as Monday. And he did. Monday was January 6th. But yeah, Canada 15. Pops was the 15th prime minister. From the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits, to the news breaking that night was 54 days. Jesuit Order 54. Remember here in the U.S., John Carroll equals 54, established the first Jesuit university, Georgetown, at age 54. At the Jesuits' peak, they had 54 universities in the U.S. Their headquarters is the Church of the Gesù, Building 54 in Italy, in Rome. Him and his father went to Collège Jean de Brefouf. I don't know, it's some French thing. The same private French language Jesuit school in Montreal. Home of the Canadiens hockey team. Justin Trudeau. He had just turned 53, thus he had began his 54th year of life. Just like how Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, he's 87, but he had to mention it was his time to step down in his 88th year of life, which is true, on the day the Pope died at 88. The leader of the ceremony for the Pope's funeral, by the way, his name also equaled 88. Of course it did. Like Holy Roman Empire. Like all this perfect ritualism. Sunday and Jesuit got that triple overlap. Prime Minister and Jesuit got that double overlap. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister. It's like he was named to be. Like we live in the land of kings and queens, which we do. These aren't democracies. These are Jesuit Masonic dictatorships where you think you're having some kind of say-so, but all you're really doing is consenting to a lie. And usually, more often than not, when you vote for these people, you end up regretting it. And you think back about how you did because the other choice seemed even worse. Think about all the people right now who've watched their 401ks plummet. You know, like I said, we might find out that we have a real big life change here on May 1st. Sweet lady here, you know, she works at a clinic that serves a lot of poor people. So a lot of Medicare, a lot of Medicaid. The majority of the clinic are people who use those systems to pay their bills. They're announcing mass layoffs where she works on May 1st. She doesn't think she's going to be one of the ones to get laid off because she's a leader there, but I said, you just never know. I said, it's okay if you end up getting laid off. Don't panic. We'll work it out. But, you know, she didn't vote in the election. She knows they're rigged. You know, I've taught her well. We don't consent to the BS. But there's a lot of people right now who might be losing their jobs who work at places just like her who just voted for Trump. Like, oh my God, I'm about to lose my job just months later? I didn't see this coming. I thought he was going to fix the economy. I'm about to be out of work. Sure, in the long run, maybe all this government bloat cutting, it could be good, but man, they're doing a lot fast and they're really shaking things up. If you have a bunch of people that are dependent on the system and suddenly they have no health care, no way to pay bills, people who worked at those places who all of a sudden don't have jobs, they might be out on the corner too. A lot of sweet ladies' coworkers who you know are the assistants and the desk workers. They're the ones fretting right now. You know, a sweet lady, one of her coworkers who had a baby 2 weeks before she did. You know, she's not well-to-do, and they have a young child to feed, and they're already having trouble with health care or child care coverage. She's worried she might lose her job. And again, I know that her husband just decided to go back to school, so he's paying for school. She was thinking she had a stable job at a place that's been around for 50 years. She's worried she might be completely out of work. Again, just that's why it's better to not participate in these rigged selections. You're probably going to feel bad that you voted for any of these people ever based on what they will do. And do these politicians ever come in and deliver on what they said they're going to do? No, they just go in there and do what they're told to do, which usually drives everyone nuts. They got to have everybody shifting the figure. Oh, I used to hate that party more. I know I'm actually a member of this party because they're not as bad as that one. It's just, I bet you right now there's already people waiting for the midterm. They're like, oh, I'm going to have to vote Democrat in the next one. I don't like what I see is going on. Like, that's not going to solve the problem. You can't figure out what's going on yet? The whole game is rigged. The whole game is rigged. It's all about accumulating more power and wealth at the top. The people that aren't at the top, it's all about having less rights and liberties, less wealth, less power, and being more under the control of the cabal. That's what it's all about. And that's what continues to happen as time goes on. For the record, Trudeau, just coming back to when the news broke about his resignation, he became the leader of the Liberal Party on April 14th. Huge Jesuit holy day. From that anniversary to the news breaking that he's going to step down, 266 days. Again, the Jesuit motto, "We Sus Hominum Salvator," 266. Pope Francis was the first Jesuit pope, the 266, spoke in D.C. on the 266th day of the year, September 23rd, 2015. Yeah, I remember April 14th when Lincoln got killed in the Jesuit plot after blaming the American Civil War on the Jesuits. the Titanic ritual, etc., etc. But yeah, again, I'm just I'm shocked that everyone in Canada that speaks English, everyone in the US that speaks English isn't aware of this knowledge, isn't aware of this code, isn't aware of what's really going on in these countries. Again, one more time from the top. This is going to be the 45th election in Canada. The challenger is 45-year-old Pierre. The incumbent, the interim prime minister, Mark Carney, who was sworn in 45 days before the 45th election. And they're saying this election's about Trump, the guy who was number 45 and number 47. Well, the conservative, which would go with supposedly Trump, who's supposedly a conservative, it's exactly 47 weeks after his birthday and 47 days before Trump's. It's about the tariffs, where they're doing the nonstop 47 rituals. Again, you don't think, and again, the Masons have a lot to do with the founding of both governments and both nations. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. 47 is a number of authority, government, authority, Republican, Democrat, president, White House. They all equal 47. Even the letters DC themselves, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, are 47. Your southern neighbor, Canada, obviously we're the 4-7 nation. Our nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month. A lot of cornerstones have been dropped in Masonic rituals by the 47 code, including the cornerstone for DC, which was laid September 18th, 1793, a date with 47 numerology. Same day the CIA was created in history, in the year 47, etc., etc. And by the way, the CIA was created in a major Jesuit ritual, and that's why some people say CIA really stands for Catholics in Action, which I would say is completely accurate. But yeah, let's open up the phone line here. Let's get some more insight from our Canadian neighbors if they're out there. When I open up the phone line, if you're not from Canada, don't call in. If we go minutes without any calls and you want to phone in from this nation or elsewhere, that's fine. But let's give a few courtesy minutes for our Canadian neighbors who might be a little bit more invested in today's story. Might have some insights because, again, I'm not real keen on Canadian politics. But what I am keen on is how the game is rigged. And I've been talking about the rituals going on in Canada by the same code we see down here. And I've been talking about that for over a decade. And don't forget how we told you what was going to happen with that whole trucker convoy 56 days from Trudeau's birthday. We told you that before it happened, when everyone was getting beat up. Horse were running over people. That was 56 days from Trudeau's birthday. If you're new here, that's a huge number with the Jesuits. Society of Jesus. The call-in number is on the screen. It's 509-560-4982. Again, 509-560-4982. Your number is on the bottom center of the screen. And the line is open. Let me make sure I got all my settings right. Check one more thing here. All right, we are officially connected. So yeah, if you guys want to phone in, it is open. Hard to say if we have anybody in Canada listening right now. This broadcast doesn't reach too many people. Just the usual suspects. Thank you to all the usual suspects. If it wasn't for you, we'd have nobody listening. Let me put my eyes on the chat while we wait on the first call. Carney files his taxes overseas to cut down on his taxes, huh? Of course he does. He just wants to collect them, not pay them. He wants to rule over people, not be ruled. What's up, 905? Oh, well, sorry. I don't know what happened there, 905. I answered and it disconnected. I don't know if that was you or me, but feel free to call back. Two cheeks of the same ass. I think that's better than two wings of the same bird. I might just start saying that from now on, because it is. These people are always in kiss my ass mode. Yeah, good one. Two cheeks of the same ass. I can't believe I never heard that before. All right, let's try it again. We got 905 one more time. 905, you are on.
It is. Hi, Zach.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I'm watching at the same time and I'm hearing myself twice.
You got to mute your video.
So yeah, am I okay with, am I sounding okay now?
You sound great.
Okay. It's just like a bit of a delay I'm hearing or something. I'm really sorry. I want to, first of all, thank you for your work. It's awesome and has given me a great deal of insight. The only thing that I wanted to point out that's kind of funny is the challenger is Pierre, and so is Trudeau's father, Pierre. It's just kind of a weird thing, right? Both named Pierre. Another thing to point out, and the numbers, you've pretty much said it all. I don't know how anyone can deny this. It's just incredible. And another thing that I remember from when I was young, I believe that prime ministers used to only be in office for 4 years. And perhaps I'm wrong about that, but that's what I remember. And Trudeau was in office for an extremely extended time that is abnormal, and nobody noticed. So I think that you are maybe being misled about just how many people are aware. I think more people are aware than are stupid, and maybe they just think there's nothing they can do about it. Because, you get blank stares when you talk to people about things, and they want to be in denial. It's easier to pretend everybody's nice, and everything's okay, but that's not the case. And I do think that people are more aware, and really I doubt that many people vote. Maybe they say they do to look normal, but I haven't voted. I think I voted once in my life when my ex-husband made me, and I didn't know who I was voting for because the party wasn't on the ballot. So, does it matter? I don't think so.
I would agree. Now,
so anyway, that's about all I have to say.
I wanted to ask you one more thing since you're a Canadian. At the beginning of the stream, I was talking about how I used to want to live in Canada, but I've watched, at least in Vancouver, I haven't really been to anywhere in Canada besides Vancouver. I've been to Vancouver multiple times. I've watched the quality of Vancouver decline, the people, and just how expensive things have become.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead.
It's declined so much you would not believe. I was driving on the 401, which is main highway across Canada, and they have construction temporary barriers in the middle of a 4-lane highway where people go 100 kilometers an hour and more.
Wow.
And it's not even safe, And I was driving in Hamilton a few months ago, and there was some construction on, it's called York Street, and we felt like we were in a war zone. There was crumbled concrete and piles of crap everywhere, no signs. It looked like it just got bombed, and they just left it there for people to figure out how to drive. Like, I'm shocked at what I see now. And on Highway 6, that's a highway that goes from Guelph. And I don't know if you know this, but the University of Guelph is our Jesuit university. It's near Georgetown, which I think is King George connected. And it's the first university in Canada. It has to be Jesuit. It's University of Guelph, and that's where I live.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's quite, and it's really interesting. Like, there's quite a history to this university also. And, I just think that a lot of these, let's say, celebrities are, I don't know whether to say reincarnation or whatever. They're playing different characters. I don't really quite understand all of it yet, but I think that, the same person, like the King James Bible, is written by the same people. So they're all playing characters, as you always say, right? And the prosthetic masks that they can make are really something else. So is that even Trump there? Or is it somebody in a suit,
That's a good point.
So there's many questions. There's many questions that need to be answered. Like, how can these people get no sleep and fly all over the world and be everywhere at the right time? Like, it's just kind of crazy if you think about those things, right? Just applying logic and like the people's names. Like, when I saw one person in the comments, not many people do this, but word association, like Carney, that's like a carnival worker. we're watching a circus and they're
Exactly.
telling you right to your face, but no one hears it. It's just incredible to me also. But, all you can do is do your best and hope that you're reaching many. And I pass it along to as many as I can. I don't care if they think I'm crazy. Lots of people do. I could care less.
And again, just
who
about
needs fake friends anyway?
the wordplay in the games. I did so many videos in the last 4 years about how important it was that they were going to reinstall Trump at 78 for the Grover-Cleveland connection alone, because Cleveland equals 78, the only other split-term president, but also because there's 78 cards in the tarot deck, and they've been doing all these card jokes with Trump, and top cards in the tarot deck are the Trump cards. And I was saying for 4 years ago, tarot cards equals 119. Trump will return to age 78 with the 119th Congress. Like you said, Mark Carney.
And tarot is
it's all a
tarot
game.
is a big ancient thing. Yeah, and it's a big ancient tarot. I've been studying that lately. What a coincidence you said that. And each card has a specific meaning, and it's really quite interesting. There really is a spiritual force around us that people don't realize, and it's important to keep your attitude up and your spirits high. And ignore, be aware of the negative things, but don't dwell on them, and just try to be positive as much as you can. And that's all you can do. And spread the word to those who will receive it. Not everyone is ready to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you just have to be prepared to make some enemies or be called nutso or whatever. But who cares at this point? The world is a disaster anyway. I mean, how much worse can it get?
I've never worried about people calling me. Yeah. Again, a lot of you guys are worried about that. You're worried about what other people are going to say. A lot of you guys will leave comments like, Zach, I share your work, but then people make fun of me. It's just like, so that's actually shows that you're part of the problem then. You're unwilling to do what's right because you're worried about being made fun of by people who are clueless morons. Again, that's called cowardice.
Being judged. I don't know. It's just being judged by others. I never enjoyed that. And I've always been different. Even as a kid, I knew things were weird, and I thought celebrities looked weird, and all this stuff. And now I know why, and I'm vindicated. I feel better now, and I have a lot less stress because I stopped watching the news anyway. But I enjoy your performance of it because it's actual. It shows you that you really have nothing to worry about. And with all these power shutdowns or whatever, I think they are tests of how we'll react to when they actually do this. And, maybe one day, without internet and everything, you have to think about how they killed Bell Canada because now we can call on WhatsApp for free. Who wants to pay a long distance bill, right? So many, many industries, like so many things change over the decades, and people, they're not old enough. Most of you are young and don't realize how much has changed. And I don't know, I'm pretty old. I was not born here, but I moved here when I was 5 years old. And I've seen many, many changes, and, including racism, and just from one spectrum to the other end. It's crazy what has happened and the stories I could tell. I don't know. Listen to Starman by David Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah,
and
indeed.
The lyrics are quite interesting. And if that's not an androgynous person with a one eye problem, I don't know who is. They put the examples out there. Columbo is another one, and Columbus is just ridiculous. I could go on forever with the TV references. And once you see, you just can't unsee it. That's all there is to it. And so I don't know how these people, they're not ready, I guess, Zach. And that's all you can do is you can't beat yourself over the head for people who are not ready.
Yeah, I hear that.
And I think that's like a divine thing, the brains will click when they're ready, or when whoever the divine being is says that they are ready. Because there's got to be a force of good in this world that's acting against this evil, and it's a balance, right? So you have to, like we are taught, yin yang. I think you have to balance it out. And even these evil people are trying to, they give to charity and other bullshit, so it makes them feel good and thinks that it advocates their evil deeds or whatever, cancels them out. But I don't know if that's the case. I think you do enough of that crap and you never get out of your karma. So I think that it's a real thing, and people just need to stay positive and stay realistic and logical. Let's say that.
I got to ask you something. This happened in 2006. I went up to Whistler Blackcomb for a ski trip, and just two things that happened within an hour of each other. I just thought these things just would never happen in the U.S., but I really like this. And this is why I just thought Canada was a better place. Um, we were going way over the speed limit. It was late at night. There wasn't anyone on the road. And there was a Mountie along the side of the road. And he was out there in his reflective gear standing outside his car. And he didn't pull us over, but he's on the side of the road doing his arms down, like slow down, slow down, slow down. We saw it. So we did slow down. He didn't come after us and give us some big ticket. He could have saw like, oh, look at these Washingtonians. But I bet in his mind he's like, these people come here and they bring good money up to the ski resort. We don't want to tax them, but we want them to drive a little bit safer. And I thought, well, that's some real police work right there. He's actually getting us to behave more safely as young, inappropriate skiers. He didn't give us a massive ticket. I mean, in the U.S. it probably would have been $1,000 ticket. And then, so anyway, here's the next thing. When we get up,
I remember what you...
Go ahead.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, there's more. Well, when I get up to the Whistler Blackcomb Village, we got up there late. The only thing that was open was Domino's Pizza. And I don't really like to eat this kind of food, but we were hungry, and it was the only thing that was open. Yeah. And what was curious is the drug dealer was hanging out in front of the Domino's, and he was literally offering free samples of what he had. He was offering little lines of Coke and stuff. And who's right behind the drug dealer? Who's right behind the drug dealer? Just 10 feet away, maybe 15 feet away. The Mountie. He's sitting there watching. And I was noticing this guy was doing business. I was like, wow, is this real? I was like, actually, this makes sense to me too, because people are going to do drugs, they're going to party. But here's the police officer watching this and making sure it's not some crazy scene. Nobody's shooting each other, robbing the drug guy. And I just thought, wow.
Did you buy any?
We bought we bought a dub sack off the guy right in front of the Mountie, no problem. So we got a little bag of weed. We got some Domino's pizza, and I just thought, man, this is maybe. Go ahead.
Maybe he just figured that it was not worth the paperwork or whatever. I mean, I got to say, I think that, the stories of who brings in the drugs, they're trying to blame it on people going across the border with a backpack or something stupid like that. I think there's underground tunnels, and I think that it's coming in, the government's doing it, and then they invent the chaos, like you always say, right? And, this is not, and of course there are people on the street who sell it, but I don't think that's necessarily who's the purchaser of all of it in the first place, you know what I mean? Or the manufacturer of it.
I do.
So, yeah, so I think that in that aspect, that policeman chose to look away because it was not a big deal, or perhaps he's taken a cut from that guy. You don't know.
But either way, I'm just saying I liked it. I felt like this was some real policing. I mean, people are going to buy drugs. He's there to keep the situation safe. He's not. Yeah. So I thought this is how it should be in the States. This is how it should be in the States too.
That's the thing. It's all perspective, right? And I do agree with you said earlier when you used to party there 10 years ago. It was people are nicer, and I do think that's true. Like I've been to the States a few times because I used to hang out in my youth with some bands that used to tour to New York, and I found people to be okay, but everybody's drunk and partying. Sure. Of course they're gonna be, but just in regular daytime, people are maybe more cautious. I don't know how to really say. I don't want to say standoffish, but I guess less open to other people's energy.
Indeed.
I don't know. And that is a thing, like some dogs react badly to you, or dogs love you, or whatever. People do carry an energy. We're all electromagnetic beings, and I'm sure that these airwaves, the 5G and whatever bullshit, is affecting everyone and making them ill in some way or another, because, DNA is like an antenna. I don't know if people know that. It's an antenna, and your brain is a computer. That's why it has a memory. And, the hippocampus, if you look at a scan, it's actually shaped like the Ark of the Covenant. So, there's jokes all over the place. You just find them, and it's crazy. You just don't, there's no rabbit hole that's too deep. Let's say that. So I wouldn't even tell you what to tell you to focus on, because you could go in any direction and find a bunch of weird crap to talk about.
Indeed. Well,
I emailed you a couple of times actually about Sopranos, and I don't know if you got them, about Sopranos and the number of let's call them coincidences between Trump and Tony Soprano.
Huh.
It's
Okay.
crazy. Like he's holding Orangina while he gets shot, and the only place he's shot is in the ear.
Hmm.
Like that's one thing. Like it's just there's a lot of little things all through that show. I've watched all of it, and it's because of streaming. When you watch things over and in a row consistently, you see more than when you watch it once a week. I guess that's it.
Sure.
But the spell is broken, and there is a lot in there. So that's what I was thinking. You could go maybe that route a couple times, pick a form of entertainment that people identify with, and find the similarities in that or something. I don't know. It's just like that 38 special in hip hop, right?
Indeed.
There's parallels in everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry to keep you for so long. I know this was going in a different direction, but hopefully everyone just keeps their spirits high, and you approach the people that you feel so safe doing so with, and that's it.
Well, I appreciate your call very much.
I think the numbers are fake too, Zach. I think you fret, but that other call you had earlier, the person was saying that the numbers were messed with, and I'm seeing that on other channels that I watch. And so, you may have more viewers than you think. And if I never get notifications ever. So, if I want to find you, I'll search for you, even if they unsub me or whatever. I don't care. So I don't think that's stopping people. It's just numbers.
Sure.
Just numbers.
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna let a few more people get in, but I really appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
No worries. You have a great day.
Yep,
Thank you
take
so
care.
much. Bye-bye.
Now, this blackout you guys are talking about in Europe, if you go back and look, the Jesuit World Economic Forum simulated blackouts from a cyber attack on September 10th and September 11th last year. Cyber Polygon, it went on September 10th, September 11th. And from the second day of the simulation, September 11th to today, is, if you guys want to call in, you're going to have to do something other than unknown. We're not taking calls from unknown today. But anyway, from September 11th to April 28th is 229 days. That is the 50th prime number. And blackout equates to 50. We've seen this pattern before. Is that an accident? I know what the skeptics would say. They say, well, he's cherry picking because he measured from the second day and not the first day. And there's 4 ciphers up there, so we had multiple options to work with. Hey, the point I'm making is Jesuit World Economic Forum has been simulating things that have become reality. Again, these are still slim odds that it would play out that way. That was my first thought, is how does this line up with the cyber polygon of September 10th and 11th last year? And don't forget, 10/9 is like 109 and cyber attack equals 109. What's up, 917?
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I finished it. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Today has 77 date numerology and power equals 77. I mean,
Yeah.
we're cherry picking there too, right?
That's true. The power's out on a 77 date numerology. Yeah, good point.
Like, that's not a pattern we've seen, right? But, no, that wasn't what I was saying. I said, what I was thinking was, are you really, I think I heard you mention one of your things that you was going to finish the 201 book because of the Pope passing.
I feel like it's a good time to finish it.
Oh man,
I got to finish the 38 special book though too right now. I got to finish that one. So too much to do, not enough time.
This 201 thing is priority because it's like you could cram in so many, like but it's interesting. I'm not even gonna go there, but I'm gonna let somebody else get on. Thank you, Zach, so much.
All right, man. Take care. Okay. You see how they emphasize the word exceptional, AP? Exceptional's got this 52 and 56. Look at power outage. 52 and 56, right? All right. Unknown wants to keep calling over. Unknown, you just got to call in with your actual number. Some trolls even call in with their actual number. I've never doxed anybody. I'm not a loser like you guys. If you want to call in and have your little clown moment, just call in with your actual phone number. Kevin Love in the NBA, his father dead today. They're from the Portland, Oregon area. That's where they reside. His father played at the University of Oregon. We just saw the University of Oregon player get drafted into the Jesuit Steelers organization, and his mom died hours after the draft. Back-to-back Oregon-related deaths. Pretty interesting. If you got here late, we went over what the ritualism is. That was covered at the beginning of the stream. So if you're saying, well, where is the coverage? The only person we have calling in right now is the troll over and over. If anybody else wants to phone in, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, if you got here late, again, I'll recap it one more time. 45th election today for Canada. The challenger is 45-year-old Pierre. It's 45 days after Mark Carney was confirmed as the interim prime minister. They're saying this election's about Trump, who was number 45 and 47. It's exactly 47 weeks after Pierre's birthday and 47 days before Trump's. The Masons studied the 47th problem of Euclid. Again, it's a reminder who really runs these nations, these secret societies that set them up. What's up, 810? 810, hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, what's up?
I've seen, I'm on the border of Michigan and Canada, by the way, but I missed the first part of your episode. I just kind of seen right when people were calling in. But there's some military activity. Whoa, fuck, there's a wasp on my hair too. Shit. Nice. That was classic, dude. That was my clown moment. I had a wasp in my hair as I was trying to talk to you. Wow, I got like crazy curly hair. It was like going by my eardrum. Anyways, sorry for that. There's a lot of military aircraft I've seen that are like either cargo transport or personnel, and they've been flying along. I've lived here for like 20 years. I've never seen like 4 of them in a row. Like they were going by the other day. So just noticed activity that I've never seen before in the aerial mode.
Okay, you're up by Flint, the water crisis. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on Lake Huron. It's about an hour past there. Oh, you know what was really weird? When Flint was in the news, that was like when I was that's when I kind of found your stuff out. But so I looked up Flint, and something else popped up for Michigan that was like national news. I cannot remember what it was, but it was some sort of negative event. And Flint and that same thing were the same number in Gematria. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Okay. I'm going to let somebody get in from Canada, but I appreciate the call and the heads up. We'll have to see. Hopefully they're not starting escalation between the two nations.
Pistons yesterday.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah,
watch out for those wasps.
55-55.
Appreciate it,
Peace
man.
out, bro.
Thank you. 437, I think that's Ontario. What's going on, 437?
Mm-hmm.
Ontario? Canada? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, there we go. I hear you.
Yeah, I just tuned in. I saw you're talking about what happened to the cyber polygon on last year, September 11th.
10th and the 11th, yeah. 2 days they simulate the cyber attack and blackouts.
Yeah, so that's so interesting. It said that it left 111 days left that year, right? And
September 11th.
we get and we get the Pope that died on the Queen's death day as well, or the Queen's birthday, sorry, which is the 111th day. And then I was saying to myself, like, they turned off the Eiffel Tower to commemorate his death. And I was thinking, how far-fetched would it be for them to have a blackout not long after? And here we have it today. You know what I mean?
Right after Klaus Schwab resigns, whose name's also 111, resigned the same day the Pope died, and he was the one in charge of these simulations. Yeah, maybe now that he steps down, maybe now they really start to take hold in the world. Yeah. Order out of chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much, Zach. All right. Have a good one.
See you. He surprised me. I thought since he's calling from Canada, it'd be about the election, but that's the thing too, you guys. It's like, how often am I covering a topic, right? And then the calls start coming in and they're about the next thing that broke in the news. Like, we don't even have a chance to focus on anything. We're just bombarded. Here, the troll just really wants to get in. Maybe if I let him get in, he'll feel relieved. Unknown, what's going on today?
I'll tell you what, though, if this per month thing gets up to something like $10,000 a month, I'll hire a couple people. You know, then I can afford to have some employees. I'll hire Jonathan. You know?
Okay.
Right now, there's 10,787 coming in a month.
And again, nobody ever supported the work for the news. They support the work for the sports. So you're playing the clip. If for real, don't know what that is. Again, for years ago, I was asking people to support the work, so I don't have to be on the sports grind. There's never been hardly anyone that ever supported the work to support the work. People pay for my work for the sports services. If I'm not doing the sports service, there's not revenue coming in. So again, trolls, the troll campaign, a relentless campaign. That's why you can't listen to audio clips. It's just like politics, soundbiting things, taking things out of context, it's totally misleading information. Lame. For the record, you guys, there's something up with doing these Sunday streams, because last week after I did the Sunday stream, Patreon dropped by 100 subs almost instantly. Last night it dropped by over 50 subs. I've lost over $500 support per month in just the last week of doing all these streams. And it reminds me, anytime I start pushing harder and trying to do more, there's always financial punishment on these online platforms. It's like there's no reward in doing this great work every day. Case in point, how much money have we raised on this stream? All of $0. I won't be surprised if I'm down even more Patreons by the time the stream's over. Again, you drive across the nation, all the way across the nation, from Seattle to New York, uniting people city by city, bringing out crowds of people talking about what's going on in this nation. Financial support cut in half overnight. It's like the greater the work I do, the more financial punishment. Do you ever see me stop? Do you ever see me stop grinding? No, but just the reality of the situation. You got these trolls always hating. Shout out to Christy, though. Christy just sent over a PayPal. I appreciate that, Christy. All right. We've now made $20. And we're over an hour into the stream. That's about minimum wage right now in Washington State. So anyway. Yeah, I don't have 10K people on Patreon. Most of the people are on the free tier. Right now there's less. It's close to 3,000. I think it's a little under 3,000 people are supporting the Patreon at $1 a month, and some more who are on the sports tier. But yeah, I've grinded a lot in the last week, man. My financial support is down $500 a month in the last week. And that shouldn't be. I put in more work than a normal week. And it's a hard thing to do right now. I got a little baby. I got lack of sleep. I'm still grinding. It's like the harder you work, the less you make. And then you look at all these shills online, these people out here just putting out nothing but BS, contributing to the two-party nonsense, creating to the racist divisions, doing streams about how they need to do something about, what's the latest psyop? Carmelo Anthony. Got to do something about Carmelo Anthony. It's like, God. And then you watch these people do these streams. They're just raking in cash, taking a side in the issue, taking a side in the psyop. It's like, this is dumb. We got undeniable proof over here to see through these psyops so you don't become emotionally involved, which is the real thing that can heal the world. Nobody really cares about that. And then meanwhile, Google's deleting your channel and saying your material's not safe for their platform. But meanwhile, the guy who's taking a side and having a halfway racist bent on the thing, and that's big time advertising and ratings and getting emails after the stream. Zach, I was trying to sign to Super Chat, but it kept rejecting it. YouTube just messes with this platform in all kinds of ways. It's like I can't even add end videos on half the videos I make. It gives me an error message. And they say that's what every YouTuber should do. Put an end video on so that somebody watches your video, they can click and watch the next one. Half the time, it won't even let me do it. It's like error. It's like, what's the error? Is anybody else having this error problem? This platform is trash. But at the same time, sadly, it's the best one out there. It's like the lesser of all the evils. All right. Anyhow, do we have anybody else that wants to phone in about the Canadian election or even the blackouts in Europe? I can do some more work on that, but I'd rather do that off air rather than on air, so I'm not boring everybody with the coding. And I really do think we already kind of hit the nail on the head with what's happened here. And again, for people who think we have to sit around all day to figure out how to connect the numbers, not really. We just know the Jesuits run the show, and pretty much you look at their last simulation for what became the news, it'll line up pretty perfectly. And by the way, that whole 50 thing I was just saying, with blackout being 50, Jesuits is also 50, the plural. And you think about like this nation, America, where the capital's the Jesuit stronghold, D.C., America's 50, like Washington. Mark Carney, became the prime minister on Pi Day. Whoops, I wrote Carney. That's not what I meant to write. Circle, Pi has a lot to do with circles. I don't think that's an accident either. Oh, and I forgot to talk about the car plowing into the crowd in Vancouver yesterday. So yesterday, or it wasn't yesterday, it was Saturday night. But yesterday, Sunday, it was a big news story because it happened at nighttime on Saturday. So Sunday had 40 date numerology, right? In Vancouver equals 40. This number plays hard with the rigged Canucks games, for the record. So does 18, like Canucks equals 18. Vancouver Canucks put it together is 58. All those numbers when they come up in the Canucks games hits. But notice, from British Columbia's founding date, which funny enough is the 201st day of the year. Go figure that British Columbia founded on the 201st day of the year. But from its founding date to the guy running over the people in the crowd was 40 weeks on the nose in Vancouver. Par for the course. Same stuff we see worldwide. The perfect ritualism synced with the perfect key dates. And then I also noticed it was 47 days before the Philippines Independence Day. And again, I looked up what percentage of the population is Filipino in Canada. It says it's 2.6% of the nation's population. Not large, but maybe a growing population. Again, just trying to create all this division between ethnicities. And of course, the powers that shouldn't be, they like to go into these nations. They like to tear them up with war. They like to send refugees to other parts of the world. You see what they did in the U.S. They got everybody scared of Islam after 9/11, and then they started funneling in Islamic refugees from all over the world into the U.S. after they spent a decade. Again, it was in 2008 that they started bringing in a lot of Islamic refugees to the U.S., 7 years after 9/11. And they also gave you the first president with a Muslim name, Barack Hussein Obama, all part of the mockery. But yeah, this is the way the games are played with us. And don't forget, Obama took office at age 47, and Joe was his 47th, or it was his VP, the 47th vice president in the history of the country. And then after he was in D.C. for 47 years, he became the president himself. But yeah, they always love to do these rituals with 47. So I thought, targeting a Filipino parade 47 days before the Philippines Independence Day, that's probably not an accident. And it was 20 days after Vancouver's birthday when death and time and cross all equal 20. Again, the cross is a symbol of time and death. Here, just for the record, if you're new here, notice how a lowercase t is a cross, right? It's the 20th letter. If you take the alphabetic order with numerology, time is 20. The first letter in time is T. Cross is 20. Seasons is, let me spell it right. Seasons is 20. Death is 20. Talked about this many a time. So the story of death in Vancouver, 20 days after the state's birthday. I noticed a little more than a decade ago, there was this story in the news about Canada's trash accidentally being sent to the Philippines. I was just like, okay, there must be some joke in that as well. Maybe not. Maybe that's a coincidence. But again, just routine numbers. 11, the master number. At least 11 dead. 20 injured. 20 days after Vancouver's birthday. The current mayor is the 41st mayor of Vancouver. Asian guy. Obviously, the Philippines Asian. He's 54 years old right now, like Jesuit Orders 54, has that suspicious 10/18 birthday. Again, that's the day they did the Event 201 simulation. But I noticed that from Mark Carney's John 3:16 birthday, March 16th, 41 days later, the guy who they blamed ramming the car, his name equals 41. The surname of the mayor of Vancouver, who's the 41st mayor, Sim equals 41. And notice if you run his name the other way, it equals 40 like Vancouver. Sim is 40 like Vancouver. See how they do that? Same stuff worldwide. Sim 4140, Vancouver 40. Again, pretty much everything done by the cabal. All these controlled governments, they got all their puppet politicians in there. This happened on the 191st day of his age. Just another big time number with the Jesuits. Society of Jesus 191. This right before the election. I don't know enough about Canada and its politics and history to see what the angle might be here, but I see the routine hallmarks, how it all lines up. I mean, I'm constantly pointing out how all roads point to the Jesuits and the Masons. It's like our nation's capital down here is the Jesuit Masonic stronghold, Washington, D.C. And I don't know why so many people can't grasp it. Again, you don't even need the gematria half the time. All you got to do is just look at the numbers, the distances, the dates. how perfect it all is, like all the 45s and 47s right here. Like the title said, it's not exactly clickbait. It says you've already been annexed by the U.S., and that's because essentially we're all just colonies of the king. The sun never sets on Britain. Catholic Church has been running Britain for 1,000 years. All right. We did get some super chatters. Shout out to the super chat. Rablanto, it shouldn't be you, man. You were the biggest donor last night on the stream. Thank you again, Rablanto. Rusty Roberts said they tried to call in. Let me see. The line is open. You can try to call in right now. I don't know why it didn't work. I didn't hear any ring. You might have tried to call in while somebody else was on the phone. The line's open, Rusty Roberts. Thank you. Gary says a Filipino cardinal, Luis Antonio Tegal, is in the running for Pope. That's a good piece of intel. Could be connected. Is he out of the Philippines or is he stationed somewhere else? I need to look into the cardinal that J.D. Vance met with the day before he met with the Pope, which was the day before the Pope died. He's 67 right now. Yeah, he's in Manila. He's in the Philippines. The Thrilla in Manila. 780, you're on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, it's Plain. Notice is that if you write out 2025 Canadian federal election, it equals 109, and then Mark Carney equals 109. So that's the only that's the only thing. And then just like as like maybe a theme for some reason on it's a holiday called the National Day, and it honors Canadian workers that died on the. It seems like a joke because they did that attack yesterday, and now they're doing the election on the National Day of Mourning. It's like, what are we in for here? And Canada does suck. I've lived here for most of my life, like all my, and it really got bad since 2000, since Trudeau got in. It really got bad. It was pretty good before that, but it's just awful. Now, I know Americans complain, but Canada is truly, truly terrible.
Yeah, it's sad because you were once truly a great nation. So,
yeah. Well, we're a nation of a bunch of losers. Like we gave up all of our smoke weed, basically. Like that's like.
You know what, 780, I'm going to reset my phone right now because it's gone back to the glitch, which I thought I solved. So I'm only hearing every one of your words. I would like to hear more of you. I'm going to reset my phone. Call back in like 2 minutes, okay? Give me a call back. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to get the new phone. If I get a new phone, I don't think I'm going to have this problem. I tried the troubleshooting method. I thought it was working there, but we're right back to it. Rode told me the newer iPhone shouldn't have the problem. They always figure out a way to get you to upgrade the new technology, don't they? I don't want to upgrade. Okay. We were going off without a hitch there. All right, hold on. I'm resetting the phone. About this cardinal that you brought up. This happened 56 days before his birthday. Society of Jesus 56. Notice he was appointed on the 5th day of the 6th month, too. We know they've done some 56 rituals on that day in history. Ronald Reagan equals 56. He died on that day. Black Lives Matter equals 56. They painted that on the streets of D.C. on that day. It's big in the RFK assassination, which happened on that day. Funny how that lines up. Pope also equals 56. Yeah. Why through Canada? Why would they do that in Canada? Interesting. All right, I'm almost done with this reset process here. And maybe it works better when it's actually closer to the machine. All right. All right, if you want to call back in, we'll see if we got our problem solved. I had to reset the system there so we weren't doing the in and out audio. All right, yeah, the line is back open. But yeah, pretty interesting observation there. Thank you, Gary. Thank you again, Tammy. Tammy, you didn't need to send a super chat. You're on the Patreon. You're on the top tier too. Thank you. All right. Yeah, the line is open if you guys want to give it a shot. See if we've troubleshooted our problems away here. Oh, about the story about Gilbert Arenas' son. In case you were following that one, real quick, I had an omission. Somebody pointed out. Let me pull it up here. Let's see if I had a big omission like they said. This only adds to the ritual of it. Just another story that doesn't make any sense. How come? Hold on. Hold on. For the person calling right now, it's not ringing in the right spot. Hold on. Huh. Can you hear me, 510? Well. All right, try that again. Try that again. For some reason, it was ringing outside my headphones. And that was not supposed to be the case. But anyway, if you missed the story about Gilbert Arenas' son, Gilbert Arenas, former NBA star, he has a new documentary coming out right before it comes out. His son, great high school basketball player, en route to USC in this tragic car accident, put into a coma. Got a call coming in. 510?
We locked in now?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. I mean, did you cover the big old blackout in Spain and Portugal?
I just showed how it came 229 days after the Jesuit simulation of cyber attack and blackout, and that's the 50th prime, and both blackout and Jesuits equal 50, so I think we're on to something.
Yeah, here goes another simulation, man. And summer's coming up for us, here in America. Remember, talked about Public Enemy, y'all. He's brought this up multiple times. Public Enemy, what are you going to do when the grid goes down?
Yeah.
Lights went down, hospitals went down, airports are down, phones are down, and trains are all down, y'all. Like, this is a simulation that's kind of been on for a long time, and I think this might be time where this would be the perfect time to do it. They already had the failed assassination attempts on Trump. What's the best way? And then also, let me finish this thought. Failed assassination attempts on Trump. Now, the tariffs, he implemented the tariffs. And, I think the next thing they do to try to cripple us even more is probably this power outage. But then also, have you covered the India and Pakistan about to go to war?
Yeah, we covered that the other night. Weren't you on the stream when D26 called in and we showed how that thing happened on the anniversary of the United States, the UN resolution? I showed how it was all synced up with Jimmy Page, who has the song Kashmir. Yeah, we covered that the other night.
My bad. Damn, I think I might have missed that. My bad. But damn, I can't even miss that stream. What the fuck? All right, well, yeah, all right, sorry. Well, that's pretty cool though, Brent. I mean, yeah, go back to this power outage thing. I mean, this is a simulation that you like to call, man. And I believe you're right. Man, I'm glad you're on it though, Zach. Well, I'm listening in there. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. So, okay, about this thing, what I overlooked is that, again, we were talking about how USC is the 43 university. They recently sacrificed Charles White in a 43 ritual. Elon Musk is 43. His son was driving a Cybertruck. This happened exactly 43 weeks into Elon Musk's age. So that's what I missed. Yeah, Elon Musk has that June 28th birthday, that day in history associated with the SS, just like how he's a character who was written about by the SS scientist Werner von Braun. Again, for people who don't know, again, I did a awesome video the night of his little SS salute showing how it was all synced with Werner von Braun. They put out the story 2 weeks later that Werner von Braun's wife died on the same day. My X channel had already been deleted. And I was finally found a place where I could get some traction on there, and I was getting 2,000 people a stream on X. Then I got all the way deleted. Supposedly he took over X for free speech, and then I'm getting all the way 86 for dropping the knowledge exposing his ass. What's up, 647?
Hey, Zach, it's AY from Toronto. Just wanted to quickly mention, thanks for the broadcast today on Canada. want to quickly mention Pierre Poilievre's first slogan was "Axe Attack." If you look at that up, that is 45 as well. And he had 4 slogans just before this election, and then he just released one 2 weeks ago. So he has like 4/5 slogans going into today's election.
How's that work with the slogan? Say it again.
He had 4 major slogans, and then recently he had the last one he just put on a couple of weeks ago called "Change." So now it's like he had 4 major slogans way before the election, and then he just released his 5th slogan.
I see, for the 45th election,
yeah. So,
45 days after becoming the interim PM. Okay, I got it.
Absolutely, yeah. So we definitely think he's going to win today. He has the 88. 88's been hitting hard. Thanks for the information you provided for us. I would even add that the craziest things about Canadians is that Canadians honestly believe that they're going to choose this guy. Like I talk to everybody at work, like everywhere, groceries, and they really think this guy's their actual choice. You know what I mean?
Pierre?
And,
Pierre?
One more
Pierre?
thing is...
Are we talking about Pierre?
Pierre, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Pierre, yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, so they're calling, Mark, we call him Mark Carnage, in Toronto, right? With all the chaos that he did in other countries, right? I think that the polls are saying that he's winning, but it's the same thing like the Trump thing, in the States, like, how they were saying Kamala was winning, and it turned out to be a landslide. We think it's the same thing that's going to happen in Canada as well, so. Yeah, so if you just check out his slogan, also his connections. Pierre is a devout Catholic. He's well connected with the Montreal Jesuit order over there. What do you call it? Went to I think either University of Alberta or University of Calgary. Like that's the big major conservative.
Calgary. Yep, Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary, right? Calgary. Yeah, Calgary. If you don't know, is one of the wealthiest conclaves in Canada. Like a lot of decisions, a lot of big companies are now based in Calgary, in Canada. A lot of major decisions are made over there. Our last Prime Minister, Stephen Harper from the Conservatives, also graduated from the University of Calgary as well.
Interesting.
So it's like he's sort of following the same footsteps. Yeah, so we definitely think he's going to win. Like he has the numbers. The 88's been hitting. Oklahoma City Thunder, 88. Top players from Toronto. Like, I think the Canada thing you pointed out, like America and the rain is definitely coming through. So, like, thanks for your program. It's really good. I always call whenever I can. I'm in Toronto. It's everything you said about Canada is the same. It's just as chaotic and as bullshit as possible. And the nickname for BC, for anyone who's been down there, is always bring cash. That's what
it was. Bring cash. That's what it was. BC, bring cash.
Exactly,
yeah, because everything's so expensive, man. That was it.
You're right. It used to be. I'm telling you, Vancouver used to be a nice place. Ask any Canadian. Toronto was always shitty. Vancouver used to be a nice place to visit. Not anymore. Like there's homeless people everywhere. There's drug dealing to the maximum. Like it's like it looks like a zombie war zone. It's sad.
Like the whole West Coast. Yeah, all the West Coast cities. Because look at Vancouver, just the northmost West Coast city. They all look the same. Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA. It's just homeless craziness, the whole West Coast.
Exactly, yeah. It's just like homeless craziness. And like we can't even, like when people ask me, where should I visit in Canada? I can't even mention like Vancouver, Toronto. I have to always say like Victoria, maybe. Victoria, BC. Like I have to mention like some far out place. So it's just like, it's whatever at this point. But yeah, you're right. All the things you said about Canada, it's just our turn. You know what I mean? It's our turn to get our asses kicked. You know what I mean? Like I said, the saddest thing is Canadians really think that they're active. Like I talk to my coworkers, they actively think that they're going to choose this guy to become our next prime minister.
Yeah, no, it's all rigged.
It's like, I'm just...
Hey, for the record, though, I overlooked that, but both of these guys' names are very similar. Mark Joseph Carney, his full name, his 3-part name is 182 and 88 in the same cipher that Pierre, I'm not sure how you say his last name, is it Poilievre or Poilievre?
Yeah.
His name
Yep.
is also
Clear
182 and
there.
88. I am dropping
Yeah.
his middle name, but it's funny how both of them have those numbers in their name. And again, Trump's Mr. 88 and the election's about Trump. It's just, yeah, it's a big joke. It's a carnival.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? You mentioned something about, okay, Trudeau was here for 9 years. The guy before him, Stephen Harper, was also here for 9 years as well.
9
so
represents
that's just, like,
completion. It
that's just
represents
the
completion in numerology 9.
Exactly. Absolutely, as we know, for the people who've been like long-term listeners like myself, I was the guy who gave you the. Remember, I gave you that information about that Celtics. I remember when Bill Russell died, we did the math from his age to the, I don't know, some math that we did together, and then we figured out why the Miami Heat was going to go far that year. So it was like, yeah, I was the one who called in about that way back. So. Anyways, yeah, I think that a Canadian team is definitely going to win the Stanley Cup this year. Remember the finals between the Team Canada and USA was final score was 3-2, and the guy who made the goal was our top Canadian player, top NHL player, Connor McDavid. And his Oilers are like now they tied it up 2-2, so I think they're going all the way to the championship. And there's one more thing about Pierre is that his birthday is June 3rd, right? And Wayne Gretzky equals 63. And, Trump keeps mentioning that Gretzky is his friend.
Yeah, that's it. His call dropped. Sorry, 647, you dropped. 510, what's up? 510, did you pocket dial me?
Yeah, no. I called you. How you doing, man?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. I had a question. Do you know if there's anything like a comparison between Elon Musk and Pegasus, or maybe Tesla and Pegasus?
Is there any way you can change your audio? For some reason, your audio sounds muffled. I'm having trouble hearing you.
I can call back later. That's fine.
All right, yeah, I'll be here. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, take care. Yeah, for some reason I was having trouble hearing him. It sounded like he maybe was in a noisy environment. It was like messing with the sound. Space Invader says Filipino Cardinal has summer solstice birthday. So June 21st. Reflection of Francis had one near winter solstice. Pope Francis had the Saturnalia birthday, December 17th. And funny enough, in Gematria, Saturnalia equals 116. He's buried on the 116th day of the year on a Saturday named after Saturn. Again, the Pope's name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 111. Did on the 111th day of the year. Died April 21st, 111th day. And then they buried him 111 days before the Jesuits' birthday on August 15th. And don't forget, that was the Queen's birthday, too. The Royals won the 111th World Series over the New York Mets, New York 111 land. Gary with another one says, Cardinal Louis Antonio Tegel's early life and formation were heavily influenced by the Jesuits. He attended the San Jose Seminary and Ateneo de Manila. Well, I'd have to think about why, if they're signaling it's him for the next pope, why would they do this ritual through Canada? What does that mean? Does that mean for Vancouver? I haven't done my homework on who the next pope's going to be. And quite frankly, I don't know if I want to predict anything anymore, because all that ever happens when I predict things correctly is the support goes down. It's like the more better we do with predictions, the worse things get around here in terms of support. I think that's more the algorithm just cutting us off. Yeah, again, we can wrap it up if we don't have more callers. If you're out there and you want to try again, 510, you're welcome to. The gentleman who got cut off, you're welcome to call back in. Again, if you got here late, I'd encourage you to rewind the stream and just watch what's at the beginning, where I'm talking about how obviously rigged this is and what a giant Trump tribute it is between the two candidates and the way it's all lined up. Again, if you're new here, I've been doing this for going on 12 years come August, just showing how the whole game is rigged by numbers. For anyone who says, why would they do this? I've written books about why they do this. It's answered in the opening pages of those books. It's Kabbalah. Kabbalah is a spiritual belief system of the ruling class. Again, Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. A lot of people in the world elite and the governing level of humanity, they are Masons, they are Jesuits. These societies are invested in these things. And that should make you think about why they're so invested in in him? Is there an element of truth to Kabbalah? Is there real magical power in this numerical ritual? I don't know the answer to that question at the end of the day, but it does seem like humanity is under a kind of a spell. It does seem that way to me. They can't see the obvious. What's up, 606?
Hi, Zachary.
Hello.
Hello, Zachary. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Hi, doing good, sir. Doing good. I have remember that you had mentioned some like gematria in Waco, like what happened in Waco, Texas, and I rewatched the like movie, you know what I'm saying, documentary, and I was just wondering if there's any more gematria to Waco, Texas. I hopped on your website and was like messing with the calculator, but I was wondering if there's anything I could look out for, or, you know, anything that I could watch on YouTube or look up.
Well, I haven't covered Waco for years. I mean, I used to have several videos on Waco on channels that have been deleted by the tyrants at Google. But my first book, Letters and Numbers, has a chapter on Waco and Oklahoma City. And if I really should think about doing new versions of those books, because there's a lot more that I've learned in the time I've been doing this research. Of course, again, Waco and Oklahoma City both happened on April 19th. Just like in Canada, you had the issue with the guy driving up and down the road on April 19th, shooting people, which got gun rights taken away. April 19th is the anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola becoming the first superior general of the Jesuits. It's a high ritual day. It's known for tragedy. The Society of Jesus. How did David Koresh present himself? As a Jesus, right? As a Jesus figure, and he gets killed at 33. Just like how they ended up putting Timothy McVeigh to death at age 33. There's a lot to Waco. And there's probably even a lot more. I really should go back and just do a whole new decode on Waco in 2025 with all that I know now. Would probably pick up on a lot. The whole thing was synced with Janet Napolitano and Clinton, Jesuit-educated people. Alex Jones was perfectly coordinated with it. Alex Jones got famous out of it. Of course, Alex Jones and InfoWars equal 42 like Waco. Controlled opposition from day one. Took Lop Hill a long time to see it. Got more obvious once he got into politics and went against his 20-year message. But major ritual. And then another part of me is like, is this even real? Like, how could you ever be in a cult? I just can't imagine being on any kind of level where you come into a cult and the guy who's the leader tells you, okay, yeah, thank you for bringing your wife. You'll no longer have sex with her. I'll be having all the sex with your wife. You can just stay over. It's like, is this even real? Like, who would do that? Oh, sure, David, here I am. Have my wife. I'll just stay over here in the bunk bed with all the dudes. Yeah, it's like, is this real? I don't even think this is real. So.
No, for real. And also, one thing that I was going to bring up also, Zach, because I had thought about it, because I am like, that's just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? I spent, I think, like the last 2 years finding survivors of MKUltra mind programming. Like, in other words, dark neuro-linguistic programming. There's a really fascinating YouTube X Rumble channel that I really feel you and everybody else here should check out, dude. It's called The Imagination Podcast. It's by this girl named Emma Lynch. Her husband, he has codename Gray. But they interview survivors who have been raised in these ritualistic abused families and getting sold as children to the government, and they abuse them and they disassociate them. I know, I think that one Jesuit man, who was it, who said, like, you hand me a boy for the first 7 years and I'll hand you the man?
I believe it was Ignatius of Loyola.
Okay, yeah. But like all of that like still goes on today. Like I know that they had the church or whatever hearings back in the 70s or 60s or whatever, and they had like, you know, unveiled MKUltra, and the CIA got blamed for it. But there was a lot of privatization places that had done it as well and hadn't got called out, and it still goes on today. But yeah, dude, I highly recommend Emma Lynch. Please look her up, dude, because I think that if you guys work together, like it'll just amass, you know what I'm saying, people like knowing about this and just, you know, seeing through the veil.
Emma Lynch.
Yes, sir, Emma Lynch. If you look up the Imagination Podcast, she has interviewed people at least once a week for like the past 3 years. She has at least over 500 interviews from the Jesuits, from Mormon churches, from Scientology, from the GATE program that a lot of people went through in school. gifted and talented education. And it's really odd and strange because if you have any peers, you can ask them if they have memories of that event, what they would do in those classes. Most of them don't because they would be napping. It was sort of like a Project Stargate kind of analysis to weed out who is more gifted for clandestine operations, which, CIA documentation shows is very real. And I think that it still goes on today. But yeah, the Imagination Podcast, that's it. X, Rumble, YouTube. Please look into her, dude. And if you reach out, she might come on the podcast or something like that. And I think that you guys could make some really great stuff happen together, dude.
Okay, I'll take a look. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zachary. I'm a big fan, man. Appreciate what you do. And I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate you hearing me out, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Take care. You could tell he was a nice guy. They say 76 people died. Koresh equals 76. Remember, the Revolutionary War began on April 19th, and the country came about in 1776. And what's up, Jeff? Jeff, did you butt dial me?
Nope.
Oh, good. Jeff, did you hear the caller last night after you got? I am. Somebody called in last night after the stream. I am live, and they had a question for you about what you said about the Cleveland Guardians thing. If you want to share information on that.
Yeah, we should do a live stream. I don't have much. I just about the cat, other than I house sit his house, his spring training house, and it's the head coach. His name's Stephen Voigt. He was the catcher for the Oakland A's. You can look on his very last at bat when he retired. It's on YouTube. He hit a home run last time at bat. Then he got the head coach job for the Cleveland Guardians and just got coach of the year because of how well he did his first year with them. So my point was we should keep an eye on the cat. I literally met him for all of 5 minutes because the opportunity to stay in his house through my buddy, which is another kind of insight. He works in Phoenix behind the camera. I met him literally at a Kings of Thrash show. He came to the Phoenix show, became a fan, and then when I went back again with my drummer from Kings, he has another band with his girlfriend, Dead Groove Band, and their guitarist is Peruvian and couldn't get his green card, so I learned all their album and went out and did several dates with them. And I met him in Phoenix at that gig because it was more intimate, and we became pals. And he works behind the camera doing all the production, go to this camera, go to that camera. He interviews a lot of the sports athletes and all that. And dude, he's totally oblivious.
Of course.
He's like a 5-year-old child. He's like a 5-year-old child about sports. Like even like with Kings of Thrash, like when we're about to take the stage, he's like a coach. He's like, "Go guys, you guys have a great show. You guys go." I mean, he's literally like that jock in high school to this day. He has no clue, and I've never mentioned anything about what we know to him because it would probably ruin our friendship.
Sure.
And I mean, it would crush his world. I mean, it's his whole job in life is, behind the camera at all these sporting events from, baseball to football to golf. Whatever it may be, if it's happening in Phoenix, he's behind the camera. So anyway, he lived 3 doors down, pardon the pun, from that coach in this gated community. And I'd already had stayed in their casita, and I'd also house sat down the street for some neighbors who went to Hawaii for 10 days and needed a pet sitter. So then the next thing was he's like, "Oh man, my buddy Steve just got the head coach job for the Cleveland Guardians, and his spring training house is empty." So I stayed there like 7-8 months, and $1 million house was killer. But I met the guy for all of 5 minutes. But we should keep an eye on the cat,
Sure.
Because hey, look how good he did, first year out. And I went to one game. They had a spring training game. They actually lost that game. We went and saw like their last spring training game in Phoenix before they all went to Cleveland.
Sure. Yeah.
and I saw him there, but he was down on the field, so we literally shook his hand over the fence. And hey, dude, what's that? So he just seems like from the 5 minutes that he's just like a typical jock, seems a little arrogant. I mean, who wouldn't be with that job? I think he got millions walking into that gig, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So his wife's Meade. He's a young cat. Got Coach of the Year this year, and he took the Guardians pretty far, right?
Yeah, they went deep in the playoffs last year. So, indeed.
Mhm.
Cleveland, hot commodity with
So
all the
the
Trump
thing
stuff.
we should all keep an eye. Yeah, we should keep an eye this year.
Yeah.
On that cat. But the reason I called was just for a quickie.
Okay.
And but we should do a live stream and talk about sports and music and all kinds of stuff and just revisit. But I took your advice. So if all your listeners could go subscribe to my new channel that we invented last night, I'm going to be teaching all the Megadeth riffs.
Well, what's it called? I'll promote it.
I texted it to you. I called it exactly what we said: Megadeth guitar riffs with Jeff Young.
Perfect.
And
let me see if I can pull it up.
Megadeth. It's at Megadeth guitar riffs. I just created it so a couple people who are my fans of like Megadeth dudes I've sent it to. You know, I had to send the link. They couldn't find it. Just searching maybe because I just created it an hour ago. But get ready for and the first post is going to be kind of cool for any So Far So Good So What fans. We covered the Sex Pistols' Anarchy on that album, and I did a solo at the end, and I also did a solo in the middle. But then we got the actual guitarist from Sex Pistols, Steve Jones, came into the studio with a broken right arm, rode his Harley in right into the studio bay and threw down the solo very similar like it is on the Sex Pistols record with a broken arm. And we were like, hey, you want us to pay for that? He said, oh, no, just give me a bottle of Jack and some suction. And I think we know what he meant by suction.
All right, I just dropped the link for Jeff's channel. If you got the links dropped, the way to find it to make it come up is do at Megadeth, and the band Megadeth doesn't have an A in the death part. It's just DETH at Mega, not like the Trump way. MEGADETH at Megadeth guitar riffs. All is one word. That'll pull up, or the link I just dropped. Again, if you guys don't know who you're listening to, you're actually listening to a former guitarist for the band Megadeth. And he's going to start teaching you the guitar riffs. Again, he's trying to get his YouTube channel up because he doesn't really just want to teach you Megadeth. What he actually wants to teach you is better music. But since Megadeth is his claim to fame, it's the way to get you into his talented guitar lessons. So yeah, this is Jeff Young on the line.
Indeed.
All right.
So what I was mentioning is the first video I'm going to put up there. The reason I mentioned Anarchy and the Sex Pistols is the solo that I did in the middle. Because the Pistols guy came in and put his solo there, mine got shelved. I just found the archived tapes of it, and I made a little slideshow video. And so that'll be the first thing that I'll post up there later today or this evening so peeps can.
Oh, did you cut out? Did we lose him? Big Al says in the chat, peace sells, but who's buying? That's Megadeth. I think somehow, some way we lost Jeff's signal. Let me try something out.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back now. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Can you hear?
Yeah, you're here.
No, I said I'm going to post that video. I'll post that video later this evening of the Anarchy outtake solo that I did, just to hold folks over as people are starting to sub and wait while I record. I got to actually record the first lesson.
Okay,
I
and
think I'm
again,
gonna make some of them short. I'll make some of them short.
I was just going to say, from what I've read, they want your channels to be highly specialized. That's what YouTube wants now. They want you to be the guy at the McDonald's. It's your job's to flip the burger. So everything on this channel should be Megadeth guitar riffs, but then in your links to get people to your other platform, that's where you get them to the other stuff. But I just release one song riff at a time as you're ready to put them out.
That's what I'm going to do. Just little bits. Sometimes it'll be just a riff. Sometimes it'll be a solo. Sometimes I'll do, once I can do lives, I could go live and teach a whole song.
Boom.
And yeah, so it'll be all Megadeth stuff.
If that doesn't take off, they've definitely targeted you for destruction. Yeah, I don't see how that's not successful. Yeah, if you guys are not aware,
I'll get other.
I was just gonna say, Jeff's been promoting my work for over a decade, and I think for that and other reasons of talking truth, he's been punished by the algorithm, just like a lot of us. So even celebrities beware. Truth is punishable.
For sure. Yeah, go back and listen to our thing last night where we talked about how and why both Zach and I are shadow banned, and our subscribers and followers are all down. Oh, by the way, I can also mention, man, I already got a little verification on Instagram. If I was to take you in my dashboard, a lot of your listeners, it's not showing.
We're having some audio trouble
Although
too.
like 30 or 40, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it went out for a second when you started talking about what happened on Instagram.
See, that's because they're probably taking us out, dude. I said last night after our thing, a ton of your followers followed me.
Oh, nice.
But it's not being reflected. It's not being reflected in my followers. It looks exactly the same. It went up just a couple few, although a ton of your people followed me. So I can already see they're not, because we know all those people that came over are legit. They're not bots.
Yeah. Well, it's probably what they do. They probably booted. I bet you if 80 people signed up last night, they probably booted 60 of your former subscribers to only make it go up 15 or 20. I mean, it seems like that's what YouTube does. And these platforms. That's how they keep your numbers small.
This is on Instagram.
Or Instagram. I think they all operate the same way. Yeah, you might have gotten 80 new subs and you might have lost 60 old ones.
And this is what, just to bring people up to speed, you should go listen to Zach and my whole thing last night, because it was both, I listened back to it, was entertaining and enlightening. But what we're talking about is both my main YouTube, if you go to Jeff Young, like my main music YouTube, Jeff Young Tube, I think it's at Jeff Young Tube. I'm capped at 4,000, right around 4,000, and exactly the same on Instagram, capped. And there's no way, after all the month-long tour I just did in Europe, 2 tours to Australia, 2 U.S. tours, so far so good. So what's Platinum Plus? You know, the Budgie album I did. You know, all the other stuff I've done. Coming on Zach's show, there's no way that I only have under 500 followers and subs. So we know that we're on the list. We're on the shit list.
Yeah, indeed we are. Indeed we are. Jeff, I actually have to hop off here because I have to go pick up Sweet Girl from her care with the grandparents. But let's do a show. Let me know when you want to do a show. I got the streams going Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night. If one of those nights works for you, let's do a Jeff Young show.
Yeah, I'll figure out which night works best. We'll touch base and we'll do one.
All right. And if I have to flex a night, if Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday aren't it, I can sub in a different night instead for you. So you just let me know.
No, one of those nights will definitely work.
Okay.
Maybe a Sunday would be the ticket. Maybe we'll do it like this coming up Sunday if I'm not out of town or whatever. But yeah, people, please, Instagram is Jeff Young Guitar. Let's keep checking this experiment, because a lot of you followed me last night, but my followers did not go up at all, really. And then my YouTube, Zach just dropped a new one where the Megadeth stuff is, and then there's Jeff Young Tube if you want to see my other music. And May 15th, new Kings of Thrash video is dropping on Cleopatra Records website, and it's called Lockdown. Guess what it's about?
Yeah, I can imagine. So, the Scandemic.
So it's single and video. Yeah, single and video.
By the way,
pretty cool.
One other thing I learned about that you should do when you make a YouTube video, I got lazy on the tags. If you go through all the things you can do when you upload a video, If you just type in tag generator on Google, it'll pull up a website called Rapid Tags. And what it does is it uses AI to detect everything that's searched for in regards to something. So if you wanted to do Megadeth, for example, if you just type in Megadeth and hit it, it'll pull up the amount of tags that you'd be able to copy and paste in. And it's just using the internet for seeing all the searches related to Megadeth to draw more people to your video. So it only takes a second.
Where do I do that at?
Just search
Where do I do that at?
search tag generator on Google. And this website will come up called rapidtags.io. And then you just type in whatever your keyword is. And then it'll generate all the tags. And then you just hit the copy tags button. And then when you make your YouTube video, before you post it, like if you go through all those options, there's one that'll say add tags. If you just paste in there what you copy from this site, it fills it up. So that's just another tip to try and generate more views to the video, especially when your channel's new.
Cool. And I think I'm going to take out the bit that we did last night when we talked and kind of edit to the crux of the matter about the.
I wouldn't put that on the new channel. I wouldn't put that on the new channel. I wouldn't do that.
No. On my old channel.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah. Not on the new channel.
On my old channel. Yeah. I'm not putting anything related to anything but Megadeth on
there
the
you go.
channel.
Megadeth riffs.
I logged out. I totally logged out. You know how you can be signed into your YouTube and create another channel and it can see your old email address. You know, so I didn't even want to take that chance. I totally signed out.
Sure.
Created the new email address through Google. You know, I called it Mega Guitar Riffs.
Oh, here's one other tip. One other tip, Jeff.
Gmail.com.
One other tip for the new channel. When you upload your first video, don't do just one. Upload at least 3 videos. So like get 3 riff videos together and then put them all in. Every time just add it to the playlist. Because the other thing, you know how YouTube now, like you'll watch a video and then it'll take you some random thing like CNN News. You're like, I don't want to watch CNN News. If you have it all in a playlist, it'll keep them watching through your channel video after video. And then make sure you do that end screen too, so that it jumps them into another video. It says you want to do all these things at the beginning of the channel because if you make it jump off right, it helps out a lot in the algorithm, and then there should be a point where it hits and it tracks and all the views go up. So I've just been watching all the tips for how to launch a YouTube channel properly in 2025, and this is essentially the top tips that I've accumulated.
Cool. All right, people will sub my channel.
All right, I'll drop the link again for you, Jeff.
Some sick guitar. Yeah, let's do some sick guitar playing.
Yeah.
And then again, I'm doing all this work. See what the hoops Zach and I have to jump through. I'm doing all this work just to get you to go to my other YouTube channel, where I'm clamped at 4,000 subscribers, and then I release a cover of the Beatles something. It gets 16,000 plays in 3 days. I wake up. It's knocked down to 6,000 plays, and now it still sits at 10, like a few years later, because they don't want to pay Harrison's Publishing, you know, and then extrapolate that out through all the covers on YouTube of all the songs that they would have to pay out on. So that's how accurate YouTube statistics are for musicians and bands and cover tunes. So my whole point of this and last night was just we don't judge any bands or musicians or artists or novelists or Zach's channel or anyone by their stats because they're all BS.
Yeah.
Total horse shit, as we say back in the Midwest.
Indeed. All right, Jeff. Well, good to hear from you, and let me know when you want to do that stream. We'll do it and promote the channel some more and talk about everything else. All right, Jeff. You have a good day.
Right on.
All right. Yeah. Take care. All right, for anyone who got here late, again, I would encourage you to rewind the stream and at least watch the first 5 to 10 minutes. That's where all the meat was. And again, start taking calls. You just never know where we're going to go. But I do got to go pick up Sweet Girl. Thanks again to everyone who got generous. I hate to be a whiner. The whining. What do they say? The what's the phrase about getting the grease? The squeaky. I can't even think how it goes. I don't like to be a squeaky whiner, but sometimes I am. All right, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Shout out to John. Shout out to Christine. Tammy. I think I missed a name here. Somehow it disappeared. Corey. Bahisha. Thank you. Christine. Did Christine double up? Anyhow, thank you all. I appreciate the support. I really do hope the world wakes up and stops participating in all of these lies. Oh, also, I see there was another new super chat. Thank you to one of the best decoders in the community, Golden ID Codes. Always has a killer observation. Friday, June 6th this year looks interesting. Friday the 6th has the 666 connection. Interesting. 129th day of the snake year that began on 129. Yeah. Friday is the 6th week day, named after Venus in the 6th month. Yeah. Another golden ID code indeed. The name is no lie. Again, if I had to rank top 5 decoders in the community, him and King Richard are easily in it. There's a lot of other people. I'd have to say, when it comes to sports, Open Up's definitely up there. There's plenty of people that could be named. There's people that used to be around all the time, like the Richie Riches of the world, but I only see them post about once every 3 months or so. But yeah, thank you very much again to everybody who supported the work. And if you guys got booted from Patreon in the last 2 weeks, you might have, because I was shocked at how many people quit after last Sunday night. And then again this morning, I'm like, wow, after the Sunday stream, just mass drop-offs on Patreon. It's like I'm putting in the grind. Extra podcasts and the support's way down. Jeez. My audience is mad. Anyway, yeah, I gotta go get Sweet Girl. Have a good day, everybody. Till next time.